Hello, welcome back. Olympics are over, holiday season in Germany is over, and let's go back with a wonderful release from the Electric Recording Company, the Stooges Fun House. You know, a couple of months ago, the Electric Recording Company started with a third pillar of their releases, in a way, in my personal opinion. You know, usually the Electric Recording Company stands for jazz and classical releases. And then they brought out the brilliant Vashti Bunyan, total surprise. They came with the fantastic and unbelievable great record. They came with the pieces of my man Jill Scott Heron, and in my personal opinion, the Stooges releases, the Fun House gets into this category too. When they announced it, it was a total surprise. It was a big surprise, and in a way, funnily, if you consider the history of this album, this is a big release, a big release. You also can see that on the numbers. Usually they do around 300. For this one they did 450, which is of course funny in a way if you consider the music on this album, and if you consider the success of the album, of this record, when it came out in 1970. There it wasn't such a big success. I think they did 2 single releases, Down on the Street, I don't know which other one, and they were slightly larger successes, but the album itself, when it came out, it wasn't that successful. Of course, when punk hit the streets and occupied the whole music industry, this album became really important and got covered all over. And nowadays, I mean, have a look. For example, Nick Cave, I think, said it's his favorite album. Steve Albini says it, and most important, Henry Rollins says this is his favorite record. The second Stooges album, Fun House, his favorite record. And of course, it was very, very influential when it comes to punk in general. But also, if you see how he sings at Iggy Pop sings at Dirt, and then listen to Blixer Bargeld, Einstürzende Neubauten. It has had its influence for sure. Musically, this album, of course, is heavily on the punk side. It's far out there. It's not an easy listening. The easiest song on the album is probably Loose, the second song on the album. There you have a very bluesy, still tough, still brutal in a way song, but it's a thrill ride. It's a fantastic album that takes you with you from the very, very, very first second. But it also has, you also hear a shadow of the Doors in a way. It has a very bluesy influence, in my opinion, but don't get that wrong. This is out there, and it forces you to get into it. It's nothing that you can play on the background while you're doing your chicken masala. That's for sure not. But a fantastic and extremely important album. The more you can imagine, I was excited that Electric Recording Company gets his hands on this first pressing and does a reissue. And you know, when it comes to this kind of music, the big question, or one of the big questions for me, is how does the, let's call it the sound the Lyric mastering system, this tube-driven system, fit to this kind of music? I think that's always, when it comes to those kind of releases, a little open question. And the answer is very short. It fits unbelievable. Unbelievable. It has it's so punchy, it is so dramatic. Yet you don't have, and that was something I was a little bit afraid of, but you don't get it here. And this is so beautiful. You don't get a wall of noise. You don't. It's all separated. It's chaotic, it's wild, it's heavy, it hits you, but it's not a wall of noise. You can figure out every instrument almost every moment. It's wonderful. The voice of Iggy, the guitar, the drums, these huge drums, that's breathtaking. So that was Love on First Sight, I think, the original master tape and the mastering console of Electric Recording Company. Wow, wow. Of course, what I say now has a little flaw. It's flawed. My review is flawed in the sense that I don't have an original, an US original at my hands. I'm very, very sorry. But so I only can talk about this release, and this release sounds brilliant to me without knowing how the original sounds. But there is something else that hits me in the best way, in a very positive way, and that is, once more, the jacket. It comes in this gatefold, wait, let's do it, in this gatefold, handmade gatefold jacket. And of course it's the quality we are used to when it comes to the Electric Recording Company. But again, through the video, of course, and YouTube, you get an impression. But when you see these colors, this printing quality, that's breathtaking, breathtaking. And it was so astonishing that I just called the Electric Recording Company, and luckily I could talk to Pete Hutchinson, who is the man behind those releases, and I asked him how that is possible, and he gave me a wonderful answer. And then you can see how deep some of those companies goes, and how beneficial it is for us customers if they do. He said, yeah, I bought a sealed original, sealed original of this, just to get the perfect match to the original jacket. That's the spirit, isn't it? That's the spirit. And the outcome is one of the most amazing jackets I have seen when it comes to reissues. Brilliant, brilliant. Let's get also into, of course, the record itself. It's on dead, flat, quiet, beautiful vinyl. We here have the Elektra label and flat. I hope you can see it. Otherwise, just trust me that I have a very flat copy. And yeah, that is a wonderful and very, very exciting release. Of course, the downside, as usual, is when it comes to the Electric Recording Company releases. This one again was gone within a couple of hours. 450 copies is of course not enough, but that's the model of the Electric Recording Company. Less is more, and yeah, we have to live with that. We have to accept that, of course. And you all know probably by now, those are very, very, very high priced originals. But I'm the kind of collector, I'm totally fine with it. I see and I hear and I feel how much love and interest goes into those releases, and so it is as it is. A wonderful release. Can't wait, of course, for the next releases. I hope and I think the next one will be a classical again, if I'm not mistaken, Starker. Exciting too. The wonderful bassist, and yeah, of course we will talk about that one too as soon as it arrives. And for now, I thank you very much that you took the time to watch this. And what's your opinion on Funhouse, the Stooges? Is it up your alley, or do you say, nah, come on, I'm out. That's too much. That's just a bit too much. Okay, see you on the next one. Thank you. Goodbye.